Okay.
Hey, everyone. Lots of familiar faces, so I think we can actually skip introductions entirely today. I will share the slides here and can run through them for us. Not much on the agenda today. Mostly going to just focus on, stuff that Ibs added in on and just broader discussions that we want to have around the WebGL frameworks and releases that are coming up. There's been a lot of PRs, a lot of great work that's been done by the team to get all this stuff ready to go. So I'm probably going to hand it over to him for most of this. Yeah, I want to jump in it. And then at the end, if there's, just as always, I guess if anybody has additional feedback for the openvisualization.org homepage, there's always a great time or space to share it, but you can also Slack it to us as well.
Yes, so first we start off with our ever-growing list of practical issues. So there's all these little things, usually they're related to some kind of account or domain registration and so on. And they just keep popping up, permission issues and so on. And they are, we have a number of frameworks and there's the GitHub access to it, there's the npm access that's necessary for publish, there's a domain, and in some cases there's even additional kind of accounts connected to it. Managing these is difficult, and when these things break down, I tend to get approached by people who are frustrated because they can't do something, and it's almost some of these are just unthinkably difficult, like for me to think about, like going back to try to npm and try to convince them that we actually have the rights to something. It's not something I can do. So I think it's important that we invest in moving this as much as we can over to the foundation. So I don't have an update on the PyDeckGL transfer. It's handled by a team that's in Europe that's on holiday right now. I don't know if there's an update on the subdomain access to loaders.gl. So that's something I know that Luke was looking into. We were probably waiting for Uber to do something, and that usually takes a little bit of time. A new thing we've had a Nebula.gl publishing issue that was partly resolved, as I was able to give Alexander ownership to the GitHub repository. However, if we go to the next page, there is now one of the modules in there is called React Map.gl Draw, and it's not possible to publish to this for the new maintainer from Contour. And my understanding is that to be able to add a new maintainer to npm, I would need to be an owner, but there is no owner of the of this module, so we're in a very strange state, and I honestly don't know where to begin. We can maybe continue a little bit, maybe Igor can help Alexander publish on request, but it's not a healthy situation. I don't think that there's any particular person in this group who is kind of responsible for fixing these things, but they're adding up, and it's becoming a little bit frustrating. Next. We had a reach out, Shan and I, a while ago from Uber. So there's a couple of assets related to Kepler.gl. There's the Kepler.gl domain and the Dropbox account, and they no longer want to refresh those tokens or have to manage those things. So that's probably something where we should reach out and decide whether, I assume we can take on the domain, whether we can take on, manage a Dropbox account and the credentials for that. I don't know if OpenJS can handle, but if not, we have to consider whether we keep the Dropbox feature in Kepler.
We can do that. We can, yeah. So I'll follow up with you on, yeah.
I think it's a free account or a very, very cheap account with Dropbox.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like
We
it's a
have, yeah. Yeah, we can, we'll definitely do that.
Okay, so can I put someone from Uber in contact with
Yep.
you and Luke?
Yep.
Or yeah, cool.
Yeah, Luke's last day was Friday, so until we backfill the PM role, I'm happy to
Oh.
take on it. Yeah. So that's okay. So I will follow up with you on that. So.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
Next. Well,
we can kind of skip over this one. But I don't know, send
yeah, I think we did this
to
last time.
Robin if you got it.
Send to Robin.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I felt like we had only 2-3 minutes left last session when we came to this slide, and so that's why I suggested that maybe we talk about it again, and we can have a little bit more discussion. I think if there's any interest in looking further at the loaders release notes, any questions about that, I'm happy to answer it. So
so 3.3 is what's coming out. Is that?
yes. So this is we're just struggling with some website. As usual, our Gatsby-based websites is acting out before every release, and once we get that through, we will publish this officially. So all the PRs are in. It's been ready for over a week. It's ready to go. There's and ProbeGL, same issue. Website and publishing issue just need to be worked through. So that one. The main change there is that we're moving to this type module system. We're testing whether we can use the next generation way of packaging modules.
Do you have release notes for this one, or is it on the site?
There is release notes in GitHub. I have not been able to publish the site yet, and so they're not up on the page.
Is Probe one of those that we don't actually have a domain for, but it's just kind of on the GitHub pages?
Oh yeah, so that's a really good question. Is it possible for us to acquire the domain for ProbeGL so we can do a proper hosting?
Doesn't look like anyone uses it.
I very much doubt it's a Greenland domain, you know. So
yeah, suppose we could put in a request, right? Just whenever we have.
Yeah, we can request a domain.
that'd be great.
Mhm.
And but the main change there is this type module change, right? And so we're going to see if that causes issues for the community. If it doesn't, then we'll, you know, in 9.0 we'll move all the repositories to ES module. And if it does cause too much pain, then we can revert, put out the ProbeGL 5, right? Without it.
Okay, so this is kind of like we'll try it on a small library first, and this is like a kind of newer way of packaging things, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this is the little canary that we're sending into the developer community coal mine.
Awesome.
All right. And well, we haven't really gone into the DexGL 8.9 because Shaji, I think, wasn't here, and so now I thought I saw Shaji in the member list, and so maybe we can talk a little bit about DexGL 8.9. There is a list of features in the API audit document there, so that I'm aware of. There's an imagery layer that I've been putting in. There's a little bit of discussion of that should be maybe only experimental. It's not quite polished. There's a Collide extension that Kato has been working on. It's pretty impressive. And there's
I can do a quick demo of the features.
Please.
I never authorized Zoom to see my screen. Sorry.
You need to sign out and
Yeah, I need to sign up and call in again.
be here. Yeah, so it's some really cool stuff that's coming in WebGL 8.9. It's worth the wait.
1:16 p.m.
Yes. All right, here we go. So here are some examples I'm working on for the website and the documentations. This is to show the new Collide extension. Before this, if you have a lot of data points on screen, they will just overlap each other, especially for text labels and stuff. It's very difficult to read. And we have a lot of feature requests to do label layout, but it's very computational intensive. If we do it on the CPU, this feature was contributed by Cardo. It does collide detection on the GPU. So you can see as I zoom in, there are a lot more labels than that is rendered at a higher zoom level.
So the GPU filters out labels so that they don't overlap.
1:17 p.m.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah, wow. And so this is totally generic. You can put any text labels in here you want, and
yeah, and you can say each text label occupy like a circle. If you assign a different if you assign a scatter plot layer to the same group.
So it's not specific to text layers, but it's a general capability.
It's a general layer. It's probably not going to work for the aggregation layers, but I think we do want to address that in 8.9. Right now, a lot of our newer features don't work with the aggregation stuff.
that's really interesting.
yeah,
What's like an example of like a non-text layer? Could it work with arc layer, or would that be a little funky with having 2 points?
I don't know what's the expectation for arc layer. I think the instanced stuff is a more common use case. So you have too many points, for example. And this extensions API also allow you to assign priorities. So if two things overlap, you could specify which one takes priority. In my own use case, I have a lot of non-geospatial plots, and this is very useful to do axis label. As you zoom in, it shows you more and more ticks.
Oh, wow. So you don't even need to, like right now, you usually have to kind of predefine how you want tick behaviors to be, but this will just make sure that nothing ever overlaps.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. The plan is this will replace the current text layer example. Current text layer example basically uses a third-party library to do label selection and layout, and we don't need that anymore. This is something very simple I'm working on for the terrain extension documentation. This is showing ski trails in the Alps, and you can see it's draped over the terrain, and everything works more or less smoothly.
This is a very exciting feature. I know a lot of people are really looking forward to terrain draping. Like, that's really cool.
I know a lot of people want to use this. I do want to be a little cautious when we market this. I don't want to say we fully support 30 terrain now, because there are going to be a lot of bugs. Another just you know, for this meeting, Google is testing their 3D tiles service, and we have access to the early access, whatever. So we can make sure that this the terrain layer and not terrain layer, 3D tile layer actually will work with their service and this new feature.
What format are they using?
So far I know it's 3D tiles.
Like the CCM specified 3D tiles?
I don't know. I need to look into it. I just got a bug report from Carlo today that there are some bugs.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, sounds like they're just using tile 3D layer to render it.
Better and better. All right, so this was supposed to be a small incremental release at the end of a major release cycle, and it has a couple of some real really impressive capabilities.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna be really excited to try these things out and some animations and stuff.
Also, we published beta 1, so if you want it, it's
A
there.
beta? Oh, okay. All right, and Ib, I'll bring it back up in case you have any more comments on the other things that are in the works here.
Not really. I mean, working a bit on Loaders.gl4, it's going to be a breaking change. So better typing, better error support, you know, stuff like that, better support for tabular data. And of course, as you know, then the effort are going to shift now. The team is going to hopefully be able to swarm on a web GPU so that we can get to the 9.0 development cycle started in earnest. So yeah, that's it. And I don't know if there's anything else, or we can cut it. I don't have anything further here.
Yeah, okay. I don't either. Is Kepler 3 in, how's progress there?
It's not a lot of progress, to be honest. I feel like what I'm missing is that there's so much work gone into 3.0. There's like, I call it like 1,000 commits. I haven't actually counted them, but like I don't really have it's just like so many small bug fixes and improvements, but it's not really, it's hard to like distill out a good message. And I guess we'd actually have to get a little bit of attention on releasing the 3.0 officially. So maybe if we get 8.9, WebGL 8.9 out and we integrate that, and it's a good time to follow up.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. I mean, even if we maybe add a small toggle or something, just, you know, maybe the ability to use some of the 8.9 features or some of the newer deck features in Kepler 3 could be enough to be a pretty great highlight, because I mean, a lot of people don't code, so the ability to have access to that kind of feature, or any kind of feature that deck offers, could be a really good tie.
Yeah, there's just like, there's people contributing like these PRs, but there's no one who's really pulling it together at the moment. There's like no like full-time maintainer. The Shan and Giuseppe don't have that level of attention on it at the moment. They have too much on their plates, but
That's okay. I mean, I think I think the approach of doing what we can well and focusing on that, I mean, is probably the best thing we can do. There's a lot that's going into these releases, a lot of things changing that kind of bubble up into Kepler anyway. So we should just focus on executing that, and everything else will kind of follow. It doesn't even need to be a giant splash of a release either for it to be significant. Kepler's already such a loved piece of software. I think just for its users to see that there's a bunch of work done into it with as many commits as it got will be
Just a new major release and a blog post and feeling that it's aligned and so on. Right?
exactly. Yeah, I think that will take it a long way.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we can end it there today. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll get back together in a couple weeks. And have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.